We're getting ready to bring on our guest.
Welcome, Monique. Welcome to the show.
Oh my
We finally
goodness.
meet.
Yes, this
Say hello to everybody.
Hello, everyone. Hello.
well, we are so grateful. I am Doc D. I know you've been talking to my wife.
Yes.
And I am just humbled and just so grateful that you took time out your crazy schedule
Serious.
to hang out with us on this amazing Wednesday. Listen, we are going to have a great time with you.
Yes.
We want you to just to relax because I know you're going to bless our audience. We do
Amen.
on the show. We believe that we're going to encourage people. We're
I
going to
agree.
them and we're going to empower them.
Yes.
Family. And I found out something new about you today. My wife gonna talk about it, that you are a nuclear mom. You're on the other side of the fence. We love that. That is just fantastic.
Yes.
So you drop some new nuggets on some folks.
That's the prayer. That's the prayer.
Yes. Well, listen, we ain't gonna keep this thing long. We're gonna drop right into the questions or jump right into it. The first question, my wife always give me the first question. I don't know why, but I think it's a male thing. No, I'm joking. But get me out the way real fast. We getting you out the face real fast, Doc D. So we, I'm crazy. So I'm like this all the time.
Me too. It works out.
Awesome. So the first question, Monique, is how did you and your husband meet? 2 parts.
Right.
And how was your blended family formed? So take your time and tell us about the wonderful meeting of this incredible man.
Okay. Okay, well, so let me start off by explaining that point, that because I'm the nuclear mom, so I have an ex-husband who's a wonderful man, and I have my current husband who's a wonderful man. So
got WW.
I've done well in life in that way. Definitely been blessed. And so my ex-husband and I met at church. We met at Hemingway Memorial, which is my home church where I grew up. And so that was our meeting.
Hold on a second. What was the name of your church?
Hemingway Memorial AME Church.
Okay, awesome. Okay. I know about Hemingway. I know a little something. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. Great church.
Yeah, it's amazing church. A whole lot of who I am today is because of Hemingway and Reverend Dr. William Robert Porter, who was my pastor growing up.
Amen.
And so that was that meeting. Very young. We met at choir rehearsals, young adult choir, youth choir, and the like. And so that was that meeting. Some odd, I don't know, like 30 years ago.
Okay.
More than that, actually, I'm sure. My current husband and I attended Morgan State University together.
Okay.
And we attended at the same time, but we didn't actually know each other. We kind of ran the same circles, but around each other, I guess you will. And then some odd years later, it was homecomings that, we bumped into each other and then we met in that way. So that was the life of both marriages, I guess you will.
Okay.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
So,
I just think that it's real. Let me say this 30 seconds. Give me 30 seconds. I think that's unique because you've made some decisions in your life coming into this blended family, even though you are the bio mom or the nuclear mom. A lot of people don't understand some of the nuances. Yes, I believe that there's so many nuances and it comes from both parts of the family and both parts of the adults in the life. And then when you bring children in, that creates another dynamic. And it seemed like, because you're smiling a lot, it seems like, your family has kind of figured it out to a certain degree, how to work on some of the parts. Because I often tell people that the blended family has a lot of parts, and you have to learn how to frame each part if you're going to be successful. Because if you try to take all the parts at one time, I think you will be overwhelmed. That's just
totally
my
agree.
Okay.
Totally agree.
Awesome. Good, baby.
Okay, so did you and your husband get premarital counseling?
So my first husband, my ex-husband, we had premarital counseling. Reverend Porter actually married us. And so we had premarital counseling we were married in 1997. And so we did. My current husband and I did not have formal premarital counseling.
Okay.
We did not. My godmother's a pastor. She's a AME pastor as well. And so, of course, with conversations and just picking up books and daily life. And my current husband is also divorced and remarried. And so kind of having gone through previous marriages and kind of having those in the back of our minds as well, pulling the good from them and the not so great from them. That was, I guess, what would be considered our premarital counseling, if you will.
Well, y'all seem very healthy from your perspective. And the reason why my wife even make that statement, we believe we're Christian counselors, and we believe the importance, and we're in a blended family. I'm third generation blended family. She's two generations. So I got a little understanding. There's a little bit of understanding of how the blended family kind of operates.
Understood.
But we often ask people that because we want them to be as sure about making this move, because the blended family is not for the faint of heart. Whether you have a great relationship with the adults, and I think the adults have to understand that it's really important that we bring the right attitude and the right spirit into the blended family, regardless of what side of the blended family you're coming from, because we're dealing with human beings. We're dealing with children, we're dealing with adults, we're dealing with in-laws. I used to call them outlaws. I don't call them outlaws anymore because I'm learning that everybody is not an outlaw because they're not connected to you.
No, because I have two sets of in-loves.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm glad you straightened me out. Every now and then I need somebody to straighten me out. But I say outlaws because we've heard stories to where it wasn't in love. It was a lot of different dynamics that were not healthy. And so we wanted to talk to people about having premarital counseling, because one of the things I do, I'm a pastor. And so one of the things, if I'm getting ready to marry you, you're in a blended family, I want to have counseling with you as well as your children.
Yes.
Whether they're young adults, whether they're teenagers, whether they're smaller, because the reality is everybody needs to be aware of some of the changes in the dynamics that are going to take place.
Yeah.
Not to get hit like you got hit by a Mack truck when you come in this new dad or this new mom, and you're coming changing up things. And I've been with my mom for so many years, and now if you're
who are you?
Who are you?
Right.
Well, matter of fact, why are you here?
Why are you here?
Yeah,
and so because my mind is not as fresh as it was at this ripe age of 48, I have three things from what you just said that I want to remember. One, it was about the in-loves and what people bring to a marriage.
Yes.
And then two, it was about not only knowing the people that you're dealing with or what's happening, you also have to know yourself and know that yourself has the capacity to change. And then the third thing was about my mom. So now I can work that direction. So I grew up, you said you were third generation, and Miss Michelle over here is second generation, but I was raised by a single mom, and it was just the two of us.
Yeah.
And so funny enough, I came into marriage knowing how to be a mom. I didn't know how to be a wife. I didn't see a wife growing up. I mean, going back to Reverend Porter, and I saw Mrs. Porter, and I saw people in the church and so forth, but I didn't grow up under a wife. I grew up under a mom. So that mom, okay, I got that. I know how to do that. So it's also a lot of figuring it out for me, not necessarily looking at a blueprint that I was trying to either mimic or run away from, depending on who looks at their blueprint. It was starting from scratch. It was like this blank slate, Yes. And then the second point about knowing yourself in addition to the people is because when you're coming in, going back to your point about the counseling, is that when you're coming into it, there are a lot of people that you're working with and a lot of dynamics, a lot of moving parts. But the biggest part is you, because you also have to think about it. It's deeper than just how much you love that person that you're going to marry, which is the other people, the other folks who get married. That's what they're thinking about, right? How much do I really love this man or this woman, right? Yeah. Now you're thinking not only about how much do I love him, but do I want to be an instant mom or dad? Yeah. Do I want to deal with some potential baby mama drama, or even if there's no drama? Because I would like to believe that my ex-husband's wife didn't see me as baby mama drama, you know, but not even drama, but just deal with it at all, you know, because now this is this additional person in our relationship. Because something as simple as this interview, Ms. Michelle will let you know that I said, well, before I can respond, let me talk to the other moving parts of this,
Right.
you know, to
That's
make sure that
wisdom.
everyone's on one accord.
Yeah, that's wisdom.
You know, and so you have to know yourself, and also know that yourself may change, because I can say, well, I love you so much and your kids are wonderful, so I love your children because they're a part of you. But what does that look like when the children come over every other Saturday, or they, you know, whatever, you know, what does that look like then? Because then maybe I'm thinking, well, I thought this is what I wanted, you know, but is it? And so that's another reason why counseling is important, to be able to have that continuous dialogue.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no, you're on point. You're definitely on point, Monique. And thank you for sharing that, because a lot of people don't understand that you're trying to build. You're not trying to break, because all blended families start from a loss, either a loss of a marriage, a
Very
loss of a
true.
relationship. You know, unfortunately, some people die
A
and they
loss of a
marry
spouse.
a loss
Right.
of a spouse. And so there's, you know, those are grieving measurements that you have to look at. And so what we lay out in our counseling session, we talk about everything what you just talked about. Are you really sure? Give us 10 points why you're sure. Or you
Right.
think you're sure, because you may
Right.
not know coming into it through the premarital situation. But I think we want to educate you and encourage you and equip you and empower you, so that when those moments happen,
Right.
because let me tell you something, as long as you're breathing, I tell people all the time, you can be full of God's spirit. You can know the Bible from the front to the back.
Yes.
It's going to be some moments that it was going to be some good moments. And that's why I straight talk 100.
No matter what.
No matter what. I said, you're
No
going to
matter
have
what.
some good days, some ugly days, and some bad days. Now, you can caveat it the way you want,
Right.
but it's going to happen. It doesn't
It's
have
gonna
to
come.
last. It can be for a moment. It could be for 30 seconds. It could be for a couple hours. But how
Right.
do you navigate from that? That's where you begin to build of understanding how to navigate from that. And so that's what we try to share with couples, or we share with anyone that's thinking about going into this blended family system, so that
Right.
you can be really in a place that you can prepare and be prepared, and also understand that, listen, you said something so powerful. Do you know yourself? Because if you still not sure of who you are,
Yes.
you're gonna spread that uncertainty all the way down in the family. And
Right.
that's not gonna allow good things to grow until
Very
you
true.
address it.
So
Very
now
true.
you can finish your point for number one, the in-laws.
Okay, so the in love, the point, and you said that point about potentially they could be outlaws, you know, and I think that's something that we have to learn through marriage and relationships in general, but specifically through marriage. I say this often as a principal in my days of being a principal and a teacher, is that you have to realize that children come to us as some parents' only or greatest asset, right?
Yeah.
For some people, this child that I birthed, or this child that I gained through whatever ways that God gave him or her to me, this is all I have, and I'm bringing it to you, and I don't want you to mess it up or mess my child up or whatever. And so when I bring them to you and something happens, don't take my maybe cursing and fussing as anger. Understand it's passion. Understand it's guarding. It's trying to take care of my asset, right? It's just like when people wash their car, and that's their asset, that's their investment. They want to keep it clean. Now, if you hit that car, you scrape it, and they start yelling and fussing at you, you think, well, it's just the car. But no, this could be their down payment. This could be all the money that they put in it. And so it's the same thing with in-laws, as I call them, is that it's that same child. It's just, they're just 40 now. They're just 30 now,
Exactly.
you know, and
Very
they sometimes want to make sure that you're sure, or they looking at you like, don't come in here messing up my child, even though my child is 40, even though my child is 30, 25 or so forth. And that what you see as maybe an outlaw type behavior could just be that. Or maybe they know what they went through in their marriage.
Exactly.
And they are trying to underlyingly, not a real word, but we're going to use it today, underlyingly
that's fine.
protect their child from what could happen, you know? And so I think if we start looking at people not direct, but see beyond what you see and truly look, then you may realize, well, this is why he or she, mom-in-law or dad-in-law is relating to me in this way. And then again, look deep, look in. Maybe something that you're portraying, that you're putting out doesn't quite settle well with them. And that doesn't mean you have to change who you are, you know, if that's who you are, but it doesn't hurt to kind of check it sometimes and just make sure that it's not creating an imbalance that is not necessary.
That's good. I mean, nobody in their right mind could ever argue with that and have a substantial argument and allow it to be really relevant.
Right.
So the reality is that we have to know our boundaries. One of the things we often talk about in relationships is I think couples have to set boundaries. And they have to set boundaries and be consistent, whether you set it with your in-loves or your children or the people that maybe not in your inner circle.
Right.
Not boundaries that will harm anybody, but that will help them to understand what we're trying to accomplish here. So I think you should definitely set goals in your blended family,
right,
where we're trying to go emotionally, psychologically, and if you need to talk to people about financially. Because what I realize is that people will see you and your new husband or your new wife and your new kids, and you guys are doing well, and they will see you and say, well, maybe I need to hit up, her new husband. He's a relative. Let me hit him up for some money. And, I called him up and say, don't share this with Monique. I need some money.
Right.
And first thing I would say, yo, bruh, that ain't gonna work.
Right.
Because here's the boundary. We talk about these things. We have a great level of communication, and you need to understand. And sometimes people don't understand that until you make it clear to them. So I think that the reality is what you're talking about is huge in the atmosphere of growing your blended family.
Yeah.
Might point me to the third question. So let me move forward.
Yeah.
She's the executive producer. She keeps me on track because I get excited about talking to awesome people. Did you and your husband discuss your different parenting styles?
Okay, so this goes back to what our situation looks like. So interestingly enough, when I got remarried, my current husband came into our marriage. He did not have children of his own.
Okay.
And my ex-husband, he and his current wife, she did not have children of her own.
Wow, unique.
Right. And so that already played a big part because neither one of them technically had parenting styles, right?
Right.
Okay. And so our children at the time were, I don't know, 7th grade and 1st grade. Okay. And they're both boys. And so we had conversations just about my ex-husband and I about what does parenting look like when you're not in the home together, because we want to make sure that we're on one accord, and we want to make sure that they realize that it's not daddy said, mommy says, no different than it was when we were all living in the same house. It's what we say. So whatever daddy says, mommy's going to know. Whatever mommy says, daddy's going to know. So that was the first part, is making sure that this connection still maintained what it needed to be for them. Then the next part, I got remarried first. My ex-husband and my current husband met. Like, they went out without me and they had their conversation amongst themselves, right? Because it was the understanding. My ex-husband had this understanding that, hey, you're getting ready to take on a substantial role in my children's life, And I'll speak for him in this way because we've had this conversation, but I don't believe it was, I want to make sure that you're good enough or you're right, because here's the reality. He knows me, and he knows I don't want any craziness around our children any more than he would, right? So I don't think it was about, I want to make sure that you're right. It was, let's get on one accord.
Yes.
Let's dialogue.
That's so much. Let me say this real quick, Monique.
That's amazing.
That is wisdom at its optimum level.
Right.
I can tell you that because I've been doing this counseling bid for over 25 years. And I've been talking to men and I've been talking to women, my wife and I, whether I talk to them separately. And I often tell men that have children
Mm-hmm.
by your former wife, that one of the things I recommend to you when the season is correct and where you have flushed out the things you need to flush out, that's not going to be healthy in the conversation. But get to know that young lady, get to know that young man,
Right.
so that you're raising or you're being a part of their children's life, and that you have to understand that there's a value there that you haven't bought into yet because you're new.
Right.
And so you have to become the student. And so
Right.
by you marrying someone that didn't have children and your former husband marrying someone that didn't have children, those particular persons, in my humble opinion, should be students of
Right.
learning how to parent. You know,
Right.
and students listen to the teacher, the instructor, or whoever the training person is, and
Right.
understand that the goal is that we both
Right.
make sure that the kids are healthy mentally, emotionally,
Yes.
and whatever parts of their lives. And so you learn to listen. I often tell men, because sometimes we men, I put my hand in it, I've gotten so much better over the years. We have a problem with consciously listening or consciously hearing what the woman is saying because
Right.
of her place or her femininity. I said,
Right.
yo, I told the dude, I said, listen, if you're gonna live a long life, listen to your wife.
Okay.
If you're gonna live a happy life, listen to your wife.
Right.
Or whatever the
Yeah.
case may be. If it's
Right.
the husband, you listen to your husband.
Whoever's speaking the wisdom at that time.
Exactly. And whoever's the parent.
Right. Because here's my point to that too, is that you said that our new spouses were the students, but to be honest, we all four of us were students, because when my ex-husband and I lived together, there were things that I did more than he did, and he did more than I did.
Right.
And now living apart, now I have to do some of the things that he did. And then when they're with him, he has to do some of the things that I did. And so we all had to be students. We still, to this day, we have to be students to understand this. If I was a person that did the homework, then he would say, okay, so I know they have this homework to do. Walk me through how you would normally do it. It wasn't a, well, mommy's not here, we're going to do it my way, because the understanding was it worked. And for me, it wasn't a, well, daddy's not here, so we're doing it my way.
Yeah.
It was, well, let me seek wise counsel to figure out how this is best done.
Without a doubt.
Yes. Now, as far as the bonus parents, we normally tell bonus parents when they come into an already made family, because your children are already linked to you.
Right.
They already have a relationship with you. They already have a relationship with their dad. So we always tell them to come in as a role model.
Be a mentor. Yeah.
Right.
Try your best to take that role right now until the relationship, excuse me, babe, for the relationship to grow, because kids are very, very, very bright.
They are.
And they understand more than we give them credit for. And that's why I've learned never to underestimate a child. I've been around long enough to understand not to underestimate them, especially when you're dealing with relationships, when you're dealing with the moving parts of a blended family, because they're searching. And let's be honest, most children that comes from a divorced family really want their mom and dad to get back together. They really don't want nobody to slip in there or whatever.
Doesn't matter the age. They want their parents together.
Of course. And especially if it's not a volatile relationship where
they don't know what happened. They don't really know what happened.
Right. And I think that's key, and I think that's why looking at the child and also understanding your child, and understand this, because I don't want anyone to feel like if their child is really struggling with it, that it's your fault because you're not able to look at the child, because that's not the case either. But at the same time, you do have to kind of follow their lead to an extent, to kind of feel out what they want and what they're looking for. What is it, and then the only thing that we could do back on our time of it was just to help them to understand that I don't know 100%, but I do know we're going to be okay. That I do know. I do know that your father will always be your father. I will always be your mother. And whoever comes into your lives, understand that we are both have common sense enough to bring people around you who we feel are best for you. Same thing with our friends, and so forth. And so I think that that's what they felt. And because they felt that, and it wasn't a shove it in your face moment. It wasn't, this is who it is, this was going to be, even though that was underlying, it wasn't that. It was okay, so now we introduce, now we have the conversation. Now that the daddy knows, and my older two call my current husband, his name is Delon. They call him Dad Lon. Okay. So daddy knows Dad Lon, it's a connection. They saw my ex-husband with my current husband. We actually moved to the Bahamas, which is where my current husband is from. And before we got married, before we even made that move, I had a conversation with my ex-husband to find out what his thoughts were on it. And he agreed. And when he would come to visit them, he stayed with us, because him staying with us meant staying with his children. And that was a open back and forth type of relationship, because that's what it's supposed to be. And the same thing now that my current husband, I have 2 more children. And when it's Christmas time, my ex-husband and his wife, they bring gifts for the 4 of them. When it's time to have a discussion or anything, it's about the 4 of them. My former in-laws, my mother-in-law came over, my former mother-in-law came over. She picked up my daughter, took her out for a day trip to get some ice cream, because that's who we are.
Well, you're right, but you guys had to set this type of barometer.
Of course.
You and your former husband had to set this type of barometer, because a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
No.
There's a lot of misconceptions. There's a lot of inequality with new kids and bonus kids and biological kids with bonus grandparents and biological grandparents. And what they don't realize is that is what it's doing is it is taking away from the healthiness of your children, or let's just say children. And I talk about this in my latest book we wrote together, Straight Talk About the Blended Family, Keeping It 100. I talk about, don't make your children or your child casualty. Make sure you make them a champion.
That's right.
And the adults have the first leg of the race, if you will. And so they have to make sure that they do that consistently, on a consistent basis, that everybody understands this is the playbook. And I'm talking about sports. This is the playbook that we're running by.
Right.
We talked about this. These are the plays that we're running consistently, so that the kids will continue to be champions, not casualties of a relationship that did not work.
That's it.
And I commend you.
Yeah, I'm just so excited.
I'm serious. We commend you guys.
Oh my God.
If we had more people like you guys, man, I'm telling you, it would be fantastic. We had people come in with the iron fist, and we're like, no, you can't do that. What I mean? My way or the highway, you either do it my way or the highway. No, they're already established with you, with you and their dad. So come in with an iron fist and expect to change things and throw a monkey wrench in, that is just, that's going, now you want some chaos? That will bring about the chaos, okay?
It will, but it's all about child-centered. If you put the child's needs first, and that's in anything, right? If you put the child's needs first, all of your conversations go back to, what do the children need? What works best for the children? It's never for me, it doesn't matter. What works best for the children? When it comes to this foursome, having this conversation or this dialogue about the children, or about whatever it is, what works best for the children? Yes. What would be the best outcome for the children?
Yes.
If you look at it in that way, it really does work.
That's what made us do the show in the first place, because millennials are drawn to us for whatever reason.
Okay. We have 3 millennial kids.
That's true.
That's what
true. And they they were so, the blended family doesn't work. That doesn't work. You know, they were so against it. You know, I'm not dating anybody with a child, and, you know, and so we said, you know what, we gonna have to let folks know that it does work and it can work. You know, it does take some maturity, you know, but it's very important. And you know what else I like that you said?
What's that?
Your kids basically were blown away when you and their dad broke up because it wasn't a cat fight. You know what I mean? Y'all, you weren't explosive, and you know, y'all amicably parted ways and kept the kids. Y'all, listen, kids are not mature enough to handle some of that negativity that parents are putting on them. And you just have no idea when we're counseling.
I understand. I overstand, as people say. I overstand.
Yeah, and I often tell dads that when you come into a house with a new mother or your new wife and she has kids, just allow yourself to take a back seat for right now. Allow patience and tolerance to be your greatest assets, because what you must understand is that if you can be the mentor, and show mentor qualities, and if you don't know what a mentor is, call me. I will get you a book. I'll help you out to read, educate yourself, and then put it into practice. I often tell people we have to learn in the African American community to put things in practice, to understand that there's a process. Sometimes the process can go smoother, it can go a lot quicker, but it's often based on the maturity and the acceptance of the adults, making the kids the centerpiece with the right balance. I always tell parents, have balance now. I know you love your kids, but kids can be very scrupulous, and they know how to play one another against each other, the parents. So you have to have that semblance of, listen, this is the deal.
Yes.
Love you, but this is grown folks stuff.
That's right.
And you need to be in grown folks' place, out of grown folks' places, so you can develop and grow.
So as he made that statement, that segues into our next question. Did the kids ever try to play you and your husband against each other?
I mean, I'm sure they have. You know, I'm certain they have. I can't think of any one thing in particular of it, but I'm certain they have, because they're children. But you know, their dad is their dad. You know, I'm an educator.
Right.
You know, my current husband he's an ER pediatrician, so he works with children. He knows children as well, and then their bonus mom. You know, I'm sure they have, but did it work? I doubt it. You know?
I can tell you about talking to Monique. No, that's not gonna work. She'll smile at you. See, she didn't get an education and become a principal that's always smiling.
No.
You got to be able to put on both hats, or 3 hats, or 4 hats.
Exactly. So no, it didn't, and they probably try it now, and you know, it doesn't. But the thing is, that's the beauty of it, though.
Yes.
That's the beauty of it, is that when you're working together, no matter what it is, because of course, you know, living in the Bahamas, we didn't have a lot of you know, there's no Target, there's no, you know, some of the places that you like to eat and all that. So when the children would come back here for the summers and for the holidays, oftentimes the phone calls would be like, hey dad, hey grandma, can we eat, can we go? I'm like, okay, so let's have a conversation. Don't worry about where you're gonna go. But of course, when they came on this side, everyone, you know, was like, oh, we haven't seen you for a couple of months. Let's go, let's do. So, you know, I guess they didn't even have to try to play us against each other, because just naturally with that dynamic of kind of being away for months at a time, you know, they kind of made out whatever it was going to be when they came this way. And you know what, at the end of the day, that's fine. It doesn't change. Exactly. We say it all the time. Whatever your rules are when you go, follow them, and prepare yourself ahead of time, because you know what the rules are. Get them done. And when you come back on this side, you know what the rules are here. So, you know, speak several languages. Learn how to speak different languages in the places that you go, right? Wherever you travel, learn the language.
Exactly.
And so hopefully we've taught them
Well, it sounds like you've done a
that.
lot. You guys have done a great work. And you know, the thing about it too is that when a child hears the same thing from somebody else, it sinks a little deeper.
Of course it does.
My experience.
Of course it does.
You know, and so the next question is,
Yes.
how has your formal education as an elementary school teacher, when you were, assisted you as being a blended family mom? How is that dynamic, that extra, because you're in a special place by dealing with mom and wife, rather, dealing with children, and even dealing, you know, I read your bio, now you're dealing with adults, which is a whole nother world. But anyway, as an adjunct professor, I applaud you, because you're dealing with a whole different level
totally
whole different level of stuff. So if you could think of one thing, by you being in the elementary teaching or in the educational field, how did that allow you to just pick up another asset or another nugget?
You know what? It's very interesting. So I think that when people talk about their calling, I really believe that being an educator was something that was deposited. And so I don't know, because I graduated from Morgan. I think I was maybe 19 or 20 when I started teaching. And I just told my husband that parents were asking me, I don't know what to do with my child at home. He won't pick up this. And I'm thinking, I don't know what to tell you. I'm only 20, But,
no, that's right.
But I just quickly went back to, what did my mother say to me? What did my mother say to me to make me do? And I would say it to them. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. I'm like, okay, that worked. And so a lot of it was just having however many classrooms of children before I became a mom myself.
Right.
Because when they come to you, you are a parent. You're a parent, you're a counselor, you're a physician, you're all of those things.
Absolutely.
And when you take that job seriously, then you realize that's what you are. And so that was it. It was like, and then once I became mom, I could use that in my classroom.
Yes.
Because now my heart was connected in a different way to these children of my own. And now I could bring that nurturing, that next level to my classroom. And the same thing as a principal, I could tell my students that were big and bad, I have children to go home to. How do you think they'd feel if you were saying, my children don't talk to me like that? So how do you think they would feel if you were standing here talking to their mother like that? I'm not just, at that time, Mrs. Plater, the principal, I'm somebody's mother, I'm someone's wife, so respect me in that way when you talk to me. Yeah. And so I was able to kind of take it both ways, back and forth.
That is
awesome.
So this question is down here. We're going to move real quickly. When is your book coming out?
That's so funny. Listen, what's funny is I got chills when you said that, because someone in a retreat, she kept saying that to all of us. And when she said it to me, I was like, oh, book. We actually have talked about it, several of them.
I just dropped it because I'm a good listener. I talk, but I'm a good listener. So anyway, my wife going to ask the next question. We got about 13 minutes, so we're good.
So I want to encourage you, before I ask the next question, I want to encourage you to start writing your chapters down.
Okay.
Just write the titles of your chapters, and the Holy Spirit, the Lord is going to, he's going to tell you, what those chapters will be. You just write them down, and then you'll be able to start.
My COVID, we have a COVID one too. My husband and I are talking about, with this pandemic, about what children have lost, but also showing them what they've gained.
Yes.
That's a chapter.
Yes.
You just wrote it. You just, the title of your chapter.
Let me write that down.
Yes.
That's a chapter.
And as they come to you, just write them down. Just add it to your list, and before you know it, you'll be filling in those chapters and you'll have your book ready.
Amen. Amen.
And then we're going to have you back on the show
to talk about your book. Yeah.
And hopefully, we'll have you back. Okay. So, so the next question, what has your greatest challenge been as a mom?
Ooh, as a mom.
One thing. One thing.
My greatest challenge as a mom, my greatest challenge as a mom is anytime I've seen my children helpless, whether it's through surgery. dealing with relationships that you can't just tell them, forget them, move on, you got to speak to their heart. So anytime I've seen any of the four of them kind of in a place that I saw as a parent as being helpless, where I wanted them to help themselves, I knew that they have to help themselves or they couldn't help themselves and I couldn't help them. I think that's number one, without a doubt.
Wow, that's awesome.
Wonderful.
The next question is, what has been your greatest source of strength as a mom? If you could think of one thing being your greatest source of strength.
My mother.
Awesome.
My mother. Yeah, and my mother died when I was 19.
Okay.
But what's
but
crazy,
the memory. Yeah.
She put so much into mothering me. Wow. Obviously, God knew, right?
Yes.
She put so much into mothering me in 19 years that today, I guess it's been almost like 27 years since she passed. Mm-hmm. Today, I still pull from it. That's and awesome. I can still use it.
That is phenomenal. Okay.
Yeah.
That is. All right. Next question. As an educator,
yeah,
you name one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Can you name one thing you would like to see changed in the educational system?
I know you got about 25,000. But Monique, we needed to hit you with that one because you are a brilliant educator. So I know you got some opinions, some perspectives. Yeah. That was my question I wrote down.
I'm just going to stretch this out into one sentence with 3 points, though.
Sure.
Autonomy for good teachers, because there's so many different ways to teach that limiting teachers, good teachers, because there is a difference, in a classroom of you do this with a group of children that look different, act different, each one individual, different from the year before, but you want them to cookie cut it and do what the teacher next door is doing. So autonomy to teach however teaching works for you and for the children in front of you. I don't care if you have to take off your shoes and count your toes, if that's what you need, but give them a shoe rack. And something for students who are either struggling or have some special need or something that makes learning equal and fair and equitable for whomever needs it.
Yeah, that's
if we know that private school works, then let's create whatever that private school looks like and make everyone able to reach it and touch it and see it and smell it and put everybody on the same accord.
Yes.
Why not? It has to be to oppress. Why wouldn't it be equal if it's not to oppress?
Absolutely.
Wow.
So number three, you said
three.
Yes.
3 would be to give parents a true catalyst to work alongside the school. Because PTA meetings at 7:00 on a Wednesday every month may not work for everyone, but everyone has something to offer to be able to support and help a school or their children or other people's children. And so think bigger, figure it out, think bigger, and really align parents. If we have to teach parents math in order for them to be able to help their children with math when they get home, teach parents math. If parents can cook, if they can bake, let them come in and teach a baking class, or let them come in, whatever it is, but something more than just, hey, we have this PTA meeting 7:00 on Wednesday, the 1st every month, come out. And when they don't, get mad because they don't.
Wow. That's another chapter.
I have my pen, but I don't have my paper. It's here. It's close.
You can listen to the show. You can listen to you'll be able to check the show. And I'm telling you this because I've been fortunate enough and blessed to write 4 books. My wife and I, we wrote Straight Talk About the Blended Family together, but I wrote 3 other books. And every chapter I'm just talking and God's just dropping chapters. And I had my iPhone and I'm putting them in my notes. And before I knew it, I had 20 chapters. Before I knew it. And so, it's just, it may not flow like that for you, but for me, and I often tell aspiring writers to take it one step at a time, but you've already written a book and don't even realize it.
Okay.
You know. So anyway, my wife gonna ask the last question. Is that my question?
But you need to seriously do the book because
I want to buy it.
That is going to touch the women who are the bio moms.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Who are struggling with their bonus children.
With
right.
Either their bonus children or their bio children learning to love somebody else. You know, not all women, you know, can accept that.
Understood.
You know, they don't want them to love the new bonus mom. They don't.
I understand.
You know what I mean? And you know, just I mean, I'm telling you, there's some women that can really glean.
Yeah, because
they need to hear it from your side. Most of the blended family out here is the bonus mom side.
Right,
you know
right,
but
right.
They hear the bio mom side.
Yeah, because oftentimes that's where the hurt is too. So that's why she doesn't speak out as much.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The inspiring words of the biological mom.
Yeah. I can't let some of my friends know. I can't ever let this go public because I have some friends that, you know, they're like, just write a column, just do a.
Don't let it go. Listen, it's okay. Don't tell them everything.
I can't because they've been pushing me. They've been pushing me. They create a red table. I used to have Mondays with Mo in the Bahamas with some friends that would come over.
Wow.
And we just have conversations. So I hear you.
And I'm just saying, you know what? We would love to collaborate a piece with you when you get through it. We can do a collaboration. We can write a book together. My wife and I, you and your husband.
And not only that, yeah, because we could all aspects of the blended family. Oh wow.
Right.
Yeah.
We've mentioned it. We've mentioned it to our other halves. So without a doubt.
Just let us know if you feel, pray about it, see what God says, and we'll move forward. We're excited.
Yes.
Listen,
yes.
How can people reach out to you?
Yeah, somebody want to bring you on their platform. How can they reach? So
that statement alone just sounds so funny. I guess. I mean, I have my email. I am on social media, but that sounds like I feel like I'm on the Oprah Winfrey show now at the end. Like, how can they?
Listen. Do not despise the day's small beginnings.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So give us your email. Give them your email.
So the easiest email is probably aliciabrennan@gmail.com.
Okay.
That's probably what I would consider my professional one. And then also probably the other easier one is Instagram, and it's the same thing at AGRED, AGRED22.
Okay. Awesome.
Those are probably the easiest way. And please do.
And what about your Facebook?
Facebook, it is Alicia Monique Method, and no, my last name is not Method. That's a whole long story. But
okay.
Yeah, it's Alicia Monique Method is my email.
Okay.
That's
my awesome. My Facebook account.
Okay, great.
Well,
yeah.
So hopefully when you do your book, we will bring you back on and hopefully COVID will be shot down a little and we can
done.
And we can actually have you in the studio.
Yes. We
would definitely appreciate it. Listen, we have a few moments, but we want to first of all thank you so much.
Thank you
for taking the
so
time
much
out your
coming on the show.
Crazy busy schedule. We believe that you are a gift to the blended family.
Yes, and
you and your family, your husband,
your transparency.
That's huge.
That's what helps people.
Yes, gotta be. You have to be.
You know, and I often tell people, this gonna make you laugh, Monique. I often tell people now, be as transparent as you possibly can,
but
because we don't have a washing machine large enough to handle all of the dirty laundry. So keep some of that stuff in the hamper, if you will.
but guess what? And do that period, because it's old.
Yeah,
you ain't gonna wear it again anyway.
That's right.
Just
wash it
just
and
keep
give it to
there.
somebody that need it. Definitely.
Okay,
Yeah.
wash it up and give it on. But yeah, that's good. That's true.
But no, we've been really blessed. And again, I'm Dr. E.
I'm Michelle.
And we are the Mangums. Listen, have a wonderful, wonderful rest of this day. God bless you. Take care. We're going to have a quick word of prayer and we're going to close. Father, we thank you so much for this amazing gift to the blended family, Monique.
Lord.
We pray for her family. We
Yes.
pray for her former husband. And we pray for her husband's former wife. We pray, God, that your continued blessings to be upon them. Thank you for Straight Talk About the Blended Family.
Yes.
A place, man, where people can share their hearts on this platform that WBGR has given us. In the precious name of your son, Jesus. Amen. Thank you very much.
Amen.
Have a
I
great
can
day.
unlock the door now, so my children who probably like, come on, we need something. I can unlock the door now.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.